I want you to imagine a picture when I mention the following words. Saudi Arabia. Women in Saudi Arabia. Entrepreneur. A mom entrepreneur or a mompreneur. Iran. Each of you had a different picture in your mind based on your personal experiences, what you have heard about others or from others, or what you have seen in the media. For the longest time, this was the image that I had in my mind when somebody said Iraq. I was born in the middle of Iran-Iraq war, and for 8 years, all I heard about Iraq was dark, negative, and unkind. They were invading our country, killing our brothers and sisters, and bombing our cities. And this was the impression that I had about Iraq in my mind. The war took 8 years, and these images were engraved in my mind. 15 years ago, I came to Dubai, and I was fascinated by how multicultural this city is. And I was amazed to be able to interact with people from different nationalities. It was at the University of Wollongong in Dubai when I met a gorgeous girl, inside and out. And I asked her where she's from. She said Iraq. I still remember the emotions that I went through and the conflict that was raised in my mind by seeing a gorgeous girl in front of me who was colorful, kind, fun, and she was supposed to be my enemy. Isra was nothing like the pictures that I had in my mind. And that was the day I realized the power of human connection. And I promised myself to never stereotype anymore in my life. Stereotyping about different cultures, nations, nationalities, or anything is nothing but an illusion. It is not the reality. Let me give you another example. I'm not sure how many of you imagined a woman when I said entrepreneur. Or what came to your mind when I said a mom entrepreneur? As part of a business course that I took earlier this year, Vital Voices Grow, I had the opportunity to work very closely with women who are from the other Arab countries. Living in Dubai and in France gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of people who live abroad, but I've never had a chance to actually work closely with other Arab women in the region. I was amazed by how powerful and inspirational these women are. We all know how active are women in Egypt, in Lebanon, in Jordan, but what fascinated me the most was the women from GCC countries. I would like to talk about a few of them who I believe have broken all the stereotypes and limitations to be where they are now. Let me start with women of Bahrain, which I found stunning inside and out. Mariam, on your left, she has several businesses. She has a very famous beauty salon, a frozen yogurt shop, and she's also a mother. It was very interesting for me that while she was sitting in the training during the break times, she was arranging to buy a gift for her son. A true example of a mom entrepreneur or a mompreneur. Wafa in the middle, she owns a PR agency, an award-winning PR agency, and she's 29 years old. You can see creativity in everything that she does. And Banan. She has been the CEO of her family business since she was 24 years old, managing over 80 employees. And she has her own branding agency with 12 employees as well. Aren't they fascinating? Emirati women are very active, and that's because of their leader's vision to empower women. But I want to briefly talk about Basma, which is another example of an inspirational mom entrepreneur to me. Basma owns several businesses. She's the CEO of the company, has a beauty salon, is opening a play area, and she has an event company, and she's a mother of 2. I don't really think that Basma needs to work, but you can see passion in everything that she does. And Hala from Saudi Arabia. I was really amazed by the women of Saudi Arabia. I have met Saudi women in France, in Dubai. They're all very active. But although I have promised myself to never stereotype, when people used to tell me women in Saudi Arabia, the first thing that used to come into my mind was restriction. We know that women in Saudi cannot drive, and by default, we think that they cannot do anything else. And this was not the case with the women that I met. Hala has a full-time job. She also has a photography studio, and her father and her partner support her in everything that she wants to do. I don't have a picture of Esra, but Esra owns a digital agency, award-winning digital agency in Saudi, and she employs only Saudi women in her company. I am not denying the restrictions which exist in some of the countries in this region. I just highlighted a couple of women that I met personally, and you are the proof that when there is a will, there is a way. Raha was not part of the training course, but I met Raha at another event here in Dubai. Raha is the youngest Arab and the first Saudi woman who has ever climbed Mount Everest. When you hear Raha's stories, the challenges that she had to overcome to convince her family and to train for the climb, you realize that it's not easy to achieve your dreams, but it's definitely possible. There is one more person that I want to talk about, and that's Layla. I don't know Layla personally. I got to know her through Humans of New York when Brandon visited Iran earlier this year. At the age of 25, Layla gets to know about the competition to design a bridge, pedestrian bridge in Tehran, to connect 2 parks together. And this bridge is supposed to become one of the icons of the city. She didn't really feel qualified at that time, but her friend encourages her to design the bridge. She designs it, she enters a competition, and she builds the most beautiful bridge I've ever seen in my life. I was thinking of the questions. This is the bridge. It's a 3-story bridge. It has a restaurant. It has a place to hang out. It is extraordinary. And I was thinking of the questions that could have raised in Layla's head to stop her from even trying. Something like, well, out of 80 million, I have 0 chance. Or I'm just a student. There are a lot more senior and more qualified people to enter the competition. Or I'm a woman. Engineering really belongs to men. Or we know how these things work. They open it to public. But at the end, they choose their own cousin, son, or somebody who has a connection. I'm glad that she didn't listen to any of these limitations. I am glad that she followed her curiosity and she created a magical reality. I want to share with you part of conversation that Layla had with Brandon from Humans of New York. When she said, now I am so much smaller than something that once only existed in my imagination. I can stand inside of it. It feels like being inside a movie that you directed or a book that you wrote, and you can't help but feel powerful. I wanted to share with you a couple of women that I met in my life who I found very inspiring. And to me, they broke down all the stereotypes and all the limitations. I hope they're an example that stereotyping is not a reality. And I hope they made you realize that if you're facing any challenges in your life, all of those limitations and challenges are external, and they can be overcome. At an event that was held by UOWD earlier this month, 2 young ladies came to me and asked me, well, we're studying very hard, but what if our husbands won't let us work? Wouldn't that be the waste? It will be indeed. And I am not suggesting that everybody should work because we're all different. But my dear young ladies, if you're in this room, I'm reminding you again, please choose a man who will support you in whatever that you want to do. And who will love you for who you are. There are plenty of supportive men out there. Powerful men empower women. And please do not let anybody or anything to stop you from finding the gift that has been given only to you. Follow your curiosity, overcome the challenges, and you shall find it. 15 years ago, I replaced hate with love. And all I have received since then is love. This picture to me represents a small Middle East, although we didn't have all the countries with us in that room. We had ladies from Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Palestine, Lebanon. And no matter what's happening in the news, there was only love and support in that room with us. Which concludes beautifully in a quote that, be the change that you want to see in the world. This picture, to me, is powerful, it's colorful, it's fun, and the joy, that harmony that represents, it brings peace to me. I am passionate about women's empowerment. And women's empowerment to me is not only about gender equality and glass ceiling, although those are very important topics. Women's empowerment is about supporting women to discovering the power that they have inside them. Women's empowerment is not about excluding men from our lives. To the contrary, they play a very important role on this journey. Men and women are exactly like our right and left brain. We need both in order to function properly. We complement each other. We don't compete. And mothers. Mothers raise the next generation. They shape the value system of our future leaders, and that's how important they are in our society. I strongly believe that empowered mothers raise empowered children, and that is the reason and why behind everything that we do at Souq and Mompreneurs Middle East. It might be very difficult to change the mindset of our current leaders, but we are raising the future leaders. And we can raise them with love and teach them to respect each other and our planet. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and the banner that I took with me was World Peace through Women's Empowerment. And as cliche as it may sound, world peace to me is not just a dream when we invest in moms and children from today. I'm a mother myself, mother of 2. I'm a mompreneur, and I'm passionate to leave this world in a better place for our children. And that is possible when we replace hate with love. I'm inviting you to throw away all the illusions that you have about other people and all the limitations that you have on your own ability. You can create any reality that you wish. And I would like to conclude my presentation with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King. That darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And thank you.